This is an introduction to VitalCenter, the downtime solution. VitalCenter allows you to access your patient's charts when the TouchWorks EHR is down. In the case where you notice that TouchWorks EHR is unavailable, you will proceed to one of the machines where VitalCenter is installed. You'll double-click on the desktop icon and you'll be prompted with the following login workspace. In order to log in, you're going to need to use your Windows login, which is the same login that you use to get onto the PC. After logging in, you'll see the following workspace. We'll notice the first field here is what we call a distribution list. This allows us to see any provider schedules that are set up to be seen on this particular PC. The next control we have here is our calendar control. Any dates that are listed in bold and green will be dates where you can view scheduled appointment data. One thing of note is that CHI will have the ability to see 5 days of upcoming appointment visits for patients. Below our calendar control, we see an individual provider's schedule. So as I look at this schedule, notice that I can see the patient's name, date of birth, time of their appointment, the appointment type, and then any comments for that particular appointment. In order to access a scheduled appointment, we can simply double-click on the entry here and notice that it will provide me with the patient's information. Over on the right-hand side is the Vital chart, and this contains all the patient's information from TouchWorks EHR. So we've got some basic demographic information. We have problem information, and these are all the different problem categories that would be available to us within the clinical desktop component of the EHR. We can view any documented allergies for the patients. We can see active medications, and then we'll also see any recent vitals or immunizations for the patient as well. We can also view results, so I'll see recent results for the patient. Any orders, outstanding orders that are in a status of needs information or active will be available here. And we also have the ability to see any notes for the patient. So the way the notes are set up is we're going to show the 6 most recent notes for the patient. So that subset of 6 visit notes should give the physicians the ability to familiarize themselves with the patient's most recent medical history. So now that the user has familiarized themselves with the patient's medical history by looking at the problems, allergies, and notes, what they have the ability to do is they can actually perform documentation directly within VitalCenter. So I can document a visit note by clicking on the new icon within the Vital Notes tab, and we'll see I'm prompted with a new template here. I have the ability to change these templates based on the type of visit that I might be seeing with the patient today. I can simply free text any information from the visit into these sections, or if your physicians are using Dragon or any speech recognition software, they have the ability to use that functionality within VitalCenter as well. At this point, when I'm finished with my note, I have 2 options. I can either save it as a draft, which will save it locally for me so that I can come back to the same PC and I can finish up the note later in the day, or I have the ability to commit this note. What will happen when I commit this note is the note will be sent up to TouchWorks EHR. So once the TouchWorks EHR is available, if we logged into the patient's chart, we would see this exact note within the chart viewer for the patient. In the event that you do save a draft and you come back to the PC, you'll be able to re-access that draft by clicking on the History section. So going to the History section here, I'll see any drafts that are saved locally. You can simply double-click on that locally saved draft, and you can continue with your visit note. So that really concludes the first workflow of a TouchWorks downtime, where we don't have access to the TouchWorks EHR, but we have patients on our schedule. Again, we have the ability to look at our schedule for today, access those patient charts, and then also document any of those visits within VitalCenter. The next piece of functionality we'll talk about is the VitalCenter On-Demand functionality. One thing to note is that the on-demand functionality is only available when your office has internet connectivity. So what that means is your office has the ability, or the PC you're on has the ability to get out to the internet and look at websites such as ESPN or Google. However, you would use this in a case where you don't have access to the EHR. So this might be a case where the EHR team is doing an upgrade over a weekend and the EHR is down, but internet connectivity is still there. what we see a lot is that sometimes we don't always have patients on our schedule. If we have walk-in clinics, that's where we want to use this on-demand functionality. So if I had a walk-in patient come in today and I have internet connectivity, I can simply search for that patient's last name. I can select the patient that I'm looking for, and I can get VitalChart. And what the system is now doing is it's communicating with the VitalCenter server, it's compiling the patient's chart, and it's pulling it down. So now I have access to this patient's chart. And again, I was able to access this walk-in patient's chart through the on-demand functionality. And again, I'll note this again, the one important thing is that your office or the PC that you're accessing VitalCenter through has to have internet connectivity in order for the VitalChart on-demand functionality to work. A few other pieces of functionality within VitalCenter. We have the ability to save a local electronic copy. So as I go ahead and click on Save Copy, notice I'll be presented with a file viewer here, and I have the ability to encrypt this with a password. So if this is a file that I'm giving to a patient, I can put a password on it to make sure that the PHI is protected. Other functionality available up here is we have the ability to print out a document. So we do find that some physicians like to print these documents out, and it has to be printed to a local printer. So they'd like to print these out and take them into the room with them. Additionally, we also have the ability to do a local search. So if I'm looking for a patient that I don't readily see them on the schedule, I can simply search for their name here, and it will show me any appointments or any patients that are any appointments that are related to this particular patient in my left-hand schedule field here. So that's the conclusion of the introduction to VitalCenter. Again, we looked at the how we can look at a patient's chart during a downtime visit. We looked at how to document that patient's visit during a downtime visit, and then we also looked at how we can access any patient's chart through the on-demand functionality.